Not the beans! Not the beans! Oh! Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today, we're going to be rolling some beautiful bean footage, as Chris has asked me to play Bug Beans. Now, in looking at various Beans decks to adjust Chris's initial deck list, to just kind of roll this into a integrated ad read, I suppose, I just used Moxfield's compare feature. So I plugged in two different Beans lists, and Moxfield just spit out all of the cards that were shared between the two deck lists, and it was awesome. And what I was seeing with a couple of Beans decks that I compared was that they were like 54 of 60 main deck cards the same, and there were just a few flex slots. So I have opted for a fourth Murktide Regent when a lot of decks are playing three of them. I would like to get my opponents dead. And Rakshasa, Rakshasha's Bargains. Ugh. Rakshasha's Bargain. Say that one 10 times fast. That one's tough. Lets you look at the top four cards, you get two of them into your hand, but the rest go to your graveyard. So you're even better than normal at filling the graveyard. And we can use some number of other things that will help us fuel the graveyard beyond that. And I'm also opting for some Thoughtseize in the main deck in my flex slots. There's some unfair combo running around like Oops All Spells, and you maybe want something that can steal a game versus them, a Thoughtseize, a Stifle, an extra counterspell, just something that can give you a little bit of an edge there. And while I'm not the biggest blue enthusiast by any stretch of the imagination, I have a feeling that Endurance is just very, very good in these mirrors and pseudo mirrors. The ability to nuke your opponent's graveyard to stop them from wastelanding you into oblivion, or stop their Murktide Regents and other delve spells from becoming less expensive, feels like a really big deal. As far as the sideboard goes, I've combined a couple of sideboards that I have seen. The thing that I'm going to preserve from Chris's original list is the fact that Chris was running 4x Leyline of the Void, which sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If you are looking to hedge for specifically a very blue, very fair metagame, this is not what you want to be doing. But if you are worried about Reanimator and Oops All Spells and things of that nature, then Leyline of the Void is much more attractive. I think that's all I have to say here, so let's go ahead and hop directly into the match here. Folks, if you need any cards, check out toamagic.com. You always get free shipping. You can expedite that shipping if their normal shipping is not fast enough. Promo code ThrabenU saves you 5% on your order. And if you're looking for sweet legacy stuff, or old school or vintage stuff, they've got it. Plus, if you're going to some place like Vegas, you can place your order online and pick it up on site, and it's super convenient. With that being said, let's battle. Okay. Opening hand has lands and spells. Wish that I had innate black mana. Gemstone Cavern. Anyway, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure I recognize my opponent's username. I think they are a red, like Prison Moon Stompy style player. So I have a basic island. Yes, my thought is confirmed. I can Thoughtseize on turn 2 here, or play out some beans and hope to do something cool afterwards. Oh, I am definitely going to need this stop in this league. Well, I will respond to that. Oh no. So those Thoughtseizes are currently uncastable. We'll shuffle this stuff away with Lorien revealed in a minute. How good am I at actually answering a Chalice? One command? Okay, so the game plan is resolve big stuff. Understood. So my big stuff, I guess there's like Uro I can work towards as well. It might be a fine turn to just hedge maze and just more or less send whatever card I do into the graveyard. Hey, little buddy, are you going directly to graveyard or do I want to cast you? I'll just send you directly to graveyard. That's fine. So this is card 3. Casting a Ponder will probably be card 4. I now want a Bowmasters on my opponent's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So let's just yeet a card into a chalice. Do this and pass turn. I guess I'll let my opponent put the trigger on the stack and then I'll do it. Oh man. Trigger. Let's just ping that. Sometimes this is air quotes wasted damage, and I could have shot 1 to face, but this keeps this token from attacking in without dying. And if my opponent needs the mana to do something like the One Ring, then I get to trade with the Orc Army token, which I am on board with. 4 mana. It is a Pyrogoyf instead. Reasonable. But I'll hopefully be taking cards out of graveyard with Uro. That's not bad either. I can get basic forest, green, green, blue, blue, and 5. Yeah. There's Uro, which is particularly good here. I will indeed put a land onto the battlefield, and we'll take the freebie. So this plus Pyrogoyf is still pretty good, and a lot of my removal is going to be turned off in the short term. That is what it is. That's not removal that will be turned off. I would really love to draw a card with beans. I guess I can attack first. Something like a fetch land maybe could change my situation. Bonus land drop to play. Opponent takes a hit, goes to 14. Now we'll go ahead and Murderous Cut the Reflection of Kiki Jiki. Even though I don't have to, I am going to delve this extra card out of my graveyard for Pyrogoyf-based reasons. Oh wait, my opponent has a land in graveyard since I wastelanded them. I did not need to do that. I could have just paid the extra mana. I will take 3. This is fine. Draw. Punchies. Uro just doing Uro things. Get a bonus land drop. I could have played the Up the Beanstalk and spiked the land that I wanted last turn. Beans. Heh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will... I kind of want a Mystic Sanctuary this back. I can just yeet 3 things into this for future Murktide Regent. I don't need these cards. Goodbye Ponder. Goodbye Brainstorm. Now I think I am fine waiting here, because I don't want to like fetch, get Murderous Cut, and realize I don't want it anymore. Broadside seems good. So I'm going to take 6, and then we'll see if my opponent junks my Uro. They do. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Murderous Cut is still fine. I maybe don't want it anymore. Do I have 2 Surveil lands in this deck? No, I just have a Hedge Maze. Maybe I just win the game eventually anyway. If I do this, I will just throw a Murderous Cut on top. Draw it. Black. I think I'll leave the stuff in graveyard. We'll just kill Broadside, draw a card. Force of Will is great. And then next turn, I have Uro. Or Murktide. Probably not both at the same time. One Ring. Absolutely not. A Life from the Loam. That's less good now that my Wasteland is gone, but I don't hate it. I am into this. Beans. Oh. Well, now I'm doing something different. Blue. Blue. Green. Green. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get rid of Misty anyway. 4, 5. There's Uro, which is theoretical lethal. And I have Force of Will for my opponent's next thing. More land for my opponent. Probably not what they want. That doesn't do anything. You got it. Yeah, you got it. I'm at 18. A Fury. No. Force of Will. Pitch Murktide Regent. Draw 2 cards. Now my opponent can't fling that at Uro, which was the plan. And they show themselves the door, which I respect greatly. So, I probably want to be able to respect Blood Moon effects and Chalice effects. Hydroblast is great here. And then there's going to be some other cards that are reasonable. I don't think I'm going to want extra Thoughtseize. I want a decent number of things that are not impacted by Chalice of the Void. I think I'm probably going to go down Thoughtseizes and Tamios. Some of this stuff is just highly efficient answers to other cards. I will play those despite the fact that they are not the best. I can probably trim the Endurance. I'm mostly looking to ride one threat to victory. I'm bringing in Hydroblasts. Do I go down on Fatal Pushes? Do I go down on some Ponders or Brainstorms? This is where I just don't have the experience playing the other side of the matchup. And then I have some things like Collector Oof, which are very, very good versus the One Ring and Treasure Tokens, but aren't particularly impressive in the grand scheme of things. Let's trim a Ponder and a Fatal Push, and assume that something that looks approximately like this is fine. I have a Force of Will, I have a removal spell, I have 3 basic lands if I want them. Romox and Ancient Tomb, Magus of the Moon. I do probably need to Force of Will that one. Pitch a Brainstorm. What basic land do I want if my opponent plays another Blood Moon effect? Maybe the black for the removal that is currently in my hand. I'll pass. Ancient Tomb. Broadside is going to resolve. I will edict that away at my own convenience. 17. And we'll call it good here. Wasteland is cool, but probably not what I am doing right now. I think I am likely to just kill this turn and then start trying to do cool stuff afterwards. Let's grab both basics. I'll be at 15 when this is said and done. And if you would, please sacrifice a non-token creature. Oop, that's a lot of mana. A Pyrogoyf is happening. I will take 3 to the face. So, now I'm in a slightly awkward position regarding this Brainstorm. I think I just use it. Wastelanding my opponent is not super effective here. I think I just try to hit something castable this turn, which I did not. We will put back 2 lands and probably try to stabilize the board with Murktide Regent next turn. We'll be at 9 from a Pyrogoyf. Oh, there's more. Ooh. In case you don't know, Pyrogoyfs trigger other Pyrogoyfs. They are pretty good in that capacity. I don't have a source of card advantage going yet, so if my opponent does something cool in the next turn, they've got it. My secondary color here, maybe I end up wanting green. Let's do a Trop. Force, Brainstorm, Force, Edict. And since I don't have anything else to do, I'll leave the extra cards in there. I'm not clearing out every one of the lands for Pyrogoyf purposes. All right, Pyrogoyf is not attacking. My opponent is passing the turn. This is what I would like to see. That's not what I want to see as a draw. I am into wastelanding my opponent here because City of Traders does not cost my opponent life, and Ancient Tombs do. I think we're getting in there. Sometimes I die. Sometimes my opponent dies. I have no controlling elements left. I think I just try to kill my opponent next turn. My opponent could draw Broadside, attack me for 4, fling Pyrogoyf for 6, and I die. 5. That's another city. We have gotten the GGs from my opponent, and we take this one down. GGs. Okay, my opponent has started the game with a Leyline of the Guild Pact in play. I have Force of Will for something scary that comes down early. I'm going to use Ponder, maybe looking for some... okay. So they become every basic land type, but they themselves are not basic lands. So we're going to try to ride Wasteland, Life from the Loam to victory. If I can avoid using Force of Will, that would be cool. Okay, well, that one is a basic land. I guess I'm just loaming here to use my mana. We'll get a Bayou and grab that Misty back. Bruh. I want to Wasteland lock you. This is a lot of value over time. I am going to go ahead and do this now and prevent my opponent from drawing a bunch of cards over the course of the game. All right, they know the value of beans. I don't need to dredge Life from the Loam here. I'll take a real draw. This is rather unfortunate in terms of how my cards are lining up here. Like, I have a very annoying thing versus control, but my opponent might just have 3 basics. Yeah, So bad news, this is hexproof, so I don't get to destroy that unless I answer this first. And my opponent is still not wastelandable. What a disaster. Bowmasters is theoretically good, but does not help me solve my immediate problem. The graveyard with you. I want to find my own beans. I want to find an Uro. I want to find a brainstorm to fix this hand. No dredge. I mean, that's not the worst. My opponent's like removal with Up the Beanstalk is probably going to be good here. We're just going to play out a trop. I don't telegraph the fact that I have Wasteland Life from the Loam Lock coming. Yep. What you got now? So, Wastelandable land. That's what it is. Yeah, see, we wanted my opponent to just naturally have some of this stuff, which is going to be very likely in their Scion of Draco deck. This one's over. It takes a while for me to die, but this one's over. I am just dying to this hexproof Scion of Draco, and I can't really start attacking these lands effectively. I'll mess with them a little bit, like to take game actions, but I don't think I get to dredge life from the loam and try to keep my opponent low on resources. I'm just getting clocked too hard here. Whoa. That's some spice. So that turns this into a creature. Oh, but it's also fucking hexproof. I got excited for a second. And this is during your turn. Yeah. Right. You're also hexproof. Yup. That is one way to win a mirror. Wow, we have got to be able to get rid of those ley lines in the post sideboard games. Guess we're bringing in Force of Vigor. Draw. That just doesn't do enough here. I'm at 5 already. Oh wow, the ley line just wrecked me. I was so excited when I saw that I was playing against this deck, and like I had Life from the Loam Wasteland innately, but my opponent opening on double basics there was rough. So my spot removal is not great until it's very, very important. I think I keep the Murderous Cuts since they trigger beans, but maybe the Fatal Pushes aren't great. I probably want these. I'm going to assume the Endurance is fine. Carpet of Flowers is something that I can be thinking about. I can just play more Thoughtseize. Red, one of the colors in the ley line, I think so. Yes, it is. Do I need Force of Will? I like that it triggers beans, otherwise I don't know that it's the most necessary. Let's get Forces and Hydroblasts in there. And then I'm still thinking about these, and maybe even Force of Negation as something I just cast to try to counter things that look like this. The Edict is nice. Maybe I go down on push, up on a Thoughtseize, up on an Endurance, don't play Carpet, question mark? Please don't take my sideboarding with blue decks as gospel, ever. This does not have a real game plan. I'll mulligan this. This has excellent cards, but boy do I have to believe in a hedge maze here. I think I'll keep it. Yeah, I'll keep this on 6. And probably get rid of one of these 2 cards. I'm gonna get rid of the Brainstorm and have the ability to answer an early leyline. Yeah, with Hydroblast. And then hopefully this just looks at a land. Hey, never didn't have it. Maybe not the black land that I want, but this will let me Hydroblast and Ponder next turn. Xander's Lounge from my opponent. Let's ponder. Ooh. Am I willing to draw all of these? I don't know that I am not. But I really want my black mana. I'm going to shuffle that. Hit Murktide Regent anyway. Let's take out that leyline. Fantastic. Opponent has their own ponder. I would like to get an Orcish Bowmaster down to help out with this sort of stuff. Underground Sea. And a new ponder. I'm looking for like beans, ponder, brainstorm, wasteland, any other colored land. That's a fine card, but not yet. Oh, we're both missing land drops. Okay. Hey, nice. Now we are potentially in an Orcish Bowmaster sub-game. Hey, I have to fetch. Oh boy, time. Ding. If there's opposing interaction. Ooh, there's not. Love that for me. In your face. There's a land drop, and opponent is chilling. I don't think I am going to swing my Bowmaster into their potential Bowmaster. I think I'm just going to swing my Orc Yeah. Opponent is at 16. I'm going to cast a ThrabenU and hold up another Bowmaster. No end of turn Bowmaster. 4th land drop. And a fetch. Yeah, that's fine. I can answer that easily. A swords is fine. I will just replace it. So end of turn. Yoink. 14. That's slightly awkward here. I'd like to answer this now. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Goodbye. So now I have good board presence and 2 annoying things on board. I wish I had a little mana here. This is the sort of situation where a Carpet of Flowers would be kind of cool. Although, wouldn't be making that much mana. Now it would. A new Swords. A Leyline Binding, presumably for the ThrabenU. Yep. And now we're chilling. Let's attack in. Probably nothing happens here. 7. I think I'm going to play a Wasteland and Thoughtseize my opponent rather than bargain. Oh, yeah. I will take the finisher. Thank you. That was a good choice on my end. I guess then, while I know my opponent does not have Bowmasters, I'll go ahead and do this. I would like to deny you a mana. We'll take the Triland. If I had anything that was relevant for Force of Vigor, I would take a green land there, but I just don't. Endurance is cool. Force of Will is online. So I'll probably just cycle Lorien Revealed, turn it into another land, and then cast an Endurance at my opponent's end step or something. Seems good. So now Hardcast Force of Will is not online. Cool. Boop. And that leaves my opponent dead immediately. Excellent. Not 100% sure how correct Thoughtseize is, but boy, taking the 4th Aerlingas there was really important. Carpet of Flowers doesn't actually play very well with Bargain, does it? Because Bargain is 3 different colors of mana. I mean, I guess you can funnel tons of mana into the colorless alternate costs here. When my opponent has the Leyline, the Carpet is kind of silly. Play the Carpet on the draw to help catch up. Oh, I want to believe in this hand. I want to believe in the Life from Malome so bad, but we'll mulligan. Ooh, no. This is significantly worse than the last hand. Bring him down to 5 cards. 1 Murktide Regent back for sure, and probably a second back as well. It is very likely that I am just going to lose this one. I am down 2 cards innately. I don't have a source of card advantage here. This is incredibly scary. I'm going to hyper-aggressively look for something like Up the Beanstalk here. Nice. That'll get me my beans. I can shuffle away the land below it, unless it just looks absolutely incredible to wasteland my opponent immediately. Which it could. Second fetch. You have beans. You have beans. So I can wasteland my opponent off of blue right now, which feels like a big deal. I think I am going to do that and hope that it's impactful. We are definitely in the take chances stage of the game. Well, they had more blue. Carpet is resolving. Don't think I get to use my brainstorm to... Right, I'm not forcing anyway, actually. Those are chilling here. So they're going to move to their second main phase where they can potentially do something with a Carpet of Flowers mana, but don't. So I am into trying to get my own beans here. It resolves. And then hopefully we can play a few cards like this and start to try and play catch up. Wonder if opponent has Force of Vigor. They're pausing here. I have unfortunately drawn another land, so this here brainstorm has some work to do. Carpet makes a mana. Oh no. The double mulligan was rough to start with. This is going to be an uphill battle, and we can decide at what point we would like to concede the game. I don't think we're quite there yet, but this is bad. My own Carpet, but I don't have a lot to do. I think I just need to put back 2 lands. I think I'm going to put back 2 lands, fetch, just get a basic swamp as to not make carpet even better than it already is. And then do this. I'm going to say no to carpet. I'm going to see if I can hold Murktide Regent for a little while and either make it bigger or draw a card with it with Up the Beanstalk. I just don't think it makes sense to play it directly into my opponent's swords and leyline bindings and potentially murderous cuts. Land. Fetching. Oh yeah. I am very happy for carpet to eat that and not Murktide Regent. Yeah. Alright. I think I'm going to cast this Brainstorm, and if this Brainstorm doesn't give me a real plan of attack, I think I am just going to tap out to triple up the Beanstalk here. Well, this gave me a real plan of attack. Okay. We play on. Wasteland. Let's Wasteland white mana. Alright, opponent has floated mana. We'll change phases. You could do something with that if you want. Didn't think so. Wasteland. Wasteland. And a fetch land. Force a negation. Takes me out of this game. Okay, nice. So now, hopefully, I can just obliterate my opponent's lands. They will have counterplay to this. There will be things like Endurance, maybe some spell bombs in there that can stop my life from the loam. But Carpet of Flowers is only making 1 mana right now. Island. That's a bargain. That is drawing 5 cards effectively. You like to discard? More other carpet. Just discard 3. Just discard 3 is fine. Discard 3. Since I have 2 different wastelands, I maybe don't need to dredge this turn. Yeah. I'm going to take 1 removal spell, and then I will dredge next turn. Wasteland a Taiga. I want to keep my opponent off of 4th Aerlingas. That is a finisher that will absolutely fuck me up. We're just going to always yield to the Carpet of Flowers. That's red and white. Hydroblast. Hydroblast. Beans on the stack. Counter. Alright, cool. So this is just going to be my opponent discarding 3 cards, hopefully. 2 cards. Oh, Glarb's in there. Hello, Glarb. Dredge life from the loam. Play Wasteland. Okay, so I guess Carpet of Flowers always makes red-white. I still think I'm going after this, though. Wasteland, Wasteland, a fetch land. Yeah, and yeah. Okay, cool. This is much more of a game of Magic than I was expected, given this. I don't know that my opponent has any Force of Wills in their deck to stop me from doing my thing. Oh man, another 4th. Oh, I see. You're going to fetch land, put it on top, and then cast it? Or you just have another already? Excuse me? Okay. That's unexpected. This is now certainly worse. Okay. So I can just kill that with regular spells right now. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Yeah. My opponent doesn't get to Mystic Sanctuary back 4th Aerlingas. I think I am continuing to walk down this path. Path of violence. I'll just wasteland 1 or 2 more times. Not making red, it's making me nervous. Land drop. Ponder. Okay. So now I've got a thing that I'll need to answer. I can find any sort of Fatal Push style card to do that, though. Opponent discards Swords and Ghost Vacuum. This is not bad. What do I do? I had a removal spell. I might just do like Carpet and try to keep my opponent from casting their win conditions. But I don't. So I fetch another thing. It gives my opponent more mana. No, I have a Bayou. Right? Yes, I have a Bayou. Okay. Fetch. Bayou. Force of Vigor. Scion of Draco. And this Leyline. Oh, there are forces. I wonder if this is my win condition. That was no to Carpet of Flowers mana. Taking a land out of deck. I eat 4 damage. 13. Yeah, my opponent is discarding. I wonder if at this point... At this point, my opponent can't cast too many spells or they die. I think I'm going to work towards 7 mana to hardcast a Murktide Regent. Oh, Fatal Push is great. That currently answers this. Yeah, so I will go ahead and pass turn here. So I will take 4 in combat, which is perfectly fine. I'm not at the point where I need to chump block with endurance yet. I'm at 9. And opponent passes the turn. They are about to discard. I think I'm just going to cast this anyway. Yeah. That was 3 mana, gain 3 life, in case that was not clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's play a delta. Oh, fuck. This is technically a 12. That was dumb on my end. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. So I should have gotten rid of Fatal Push. Boy, I hope that doesn't cost me the game. Oh, that was a bad mistake on my end. All right, land drop from my opponent. 8. And then it's my turn. Bargain. I'm in? Yeah. These aren't great. I'll pick up an Endurance and I guess a Lorien Revealed. I'll fetch. Grab something green out of the deck. Make a land drop. Pass the turn. 8 cards in library. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this now and attempt to maybe double block next turn. Just casting an Endurance. There is a Leyline Binding that is drawing 3 cards. 5 cards remaining in deck. Opponent will discard 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'll die to a removal spell if I cast this, or I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and have Lorien Revealed with 3 mana available. You fly already, right? Yes. Hitting Uro for 3 life is reasonable. I've already used Edict. Push doesn't do it, so I have 2 Murderous Cuts to find. My opponent has 3 Leyline Bindings in play, and potentially has the 4th Leyline Binding. I also don't know how many Force of Wills my opponent has, and whether or not there's more 4th Aerlingas. I guess there's also, like, are all 4 Leyline Bindings in? Probably. So, my opponent will be at 4 cards, followed by 3 cards the following turn. Leyline Bindings aren't on for much longer. If I can play around them, that's cool. If my opponent has a counterspell, I die either way. I don't have another Surveil land. I'm going to go with the Murktide and hope they don't have it in hand already. By it, I mean Leyline Binding. That is a Pyroblast. So either one of the spells that I play get Pyroblasted. And I am unfortunately dead. Just for giggles, let's draw an extra card and pretend it was the card that I should have drawn if I didn't. If I did Surveil Pyroblast. Or sorry, Fatal Push. I would have gotten a Brainstorm, in theory. That's not obviously exactly true, but if I turn this into a real card, I maybe win this game. GG's. Legacy is really cool sometimes, where a tiny, tiny mistake changes the course of the entire game. And this was a mulligan to 5, I just want to remind you all, and we clawed back and played a very reasonable game. Alright. I'm fine keeping this hand. We'll try to punch a hole in whatever my opponent is doing with Thoughtseize, and then Brainstorm shortly thereafter. We have a Lorien Revealed to pitch to Force of Will. Oh, joy. We will be taking Cephalid Illusionist here, as my opponent has both Nomads and Shuko. So that's 2 pieces of the same side of the deck. My Force of Will is not going to be fantastic here. It doesn't make sense to counter Shuko or Nomads, because my opponent just has the other one. So yeah, that's resolving. And I'm probably countering a Brainstorm in an attempt to strand my opponent's resources. Always this land drop, and then I guess I kind of know what I'm looking for. Let's wander. It's a little early for Uro. We'll have 3 cards in graveyard, 4 cards after fetch, 5 cards after Force of Will. Okay, so let's turns on that card in a way that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I guess my opponent has Cavern. Let's shuffle this. Push is fine. Doesn't really make sense to push Nomads in particular, but I might end up doing it depending on where this game goes. It's a wizard. My opponent has another Cephalid Illusionist, so they have their combo here. However, I have Fatal Push. So we're going to go ahead and cast that, take out the Cephalid Illusionist. My opponent will mill a few cards there, but overall, that went well. Murderous Cut. I'm going to pass the turn with mana available. All right, land drop from my opponent, and they are just passing the turn. I don't think I am end of turn brainstorming. I think I'd like to get another card deeper. I will brainstorm now and hopefully find something to do. Those are cards. I'm going to put back Land Murderous Cut, I think. I wouldn't maybe hate redrawing Murderous Cut, but I have other things that I would like to draw more. Do I Force of Will this because I know my opponent's hand is very bad? I think I do. I would just like to leave them with these cards that don't do much right now. I'm not going to be able to fight something like a Nadu on the stack later. Nadu's a bird wizard, right? Yeah, I'm not crazy. There is overlap between those. All right. Nomads resolves. That's fine. Do I Fatal Push it? Nah, I'll ambush it with Endurance. I find drawing Murderous Cut. It's okay. I think I'll hedge Maze. Alright. So let's Uro. That's not exactly what I want to draw, but it dodges Prismatic Ending. However, by doing what I've done and trying to advance my own game, I have created a window where Fatal Push is not on to stop a Nadu. Ooh. Yeah. They're just going to shuffle some lands into my deck. I'm just going to take the hit this turn. My plan is fully just block this creature. Okay. Blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a big Murktide Regent that dodges Prismatic Ending. I've used all of my graveyard, so if I had the Murderous Cut, it would not be usable this turn. Alright, we are chilling, and now I have to decide whether or not I'm using this Endurance. I think I am. I'll nuke your graveyard, I guess. Okay, that's great. Now Fatal Push is online for a Nadu. If my opponent takes a chump block on Endurance, and they do. So now I have a Fatal Push for the worst case scenario of my opponent drawing the other half of their combo. Otherwise, this is 11. My opponent does not have 3 true mana for Prismatic Ending to answer Endurance right now. That's a wizard. That's a Thassa's Oracle. That's a very fair Thassa's Oracle. You may equip with Shuko. I think I'm going to take my draw first. Oh boy. Let's go for lethal. So if there's not a Swords to Plowshares, I win. There's not a Swords to Plowshares, and I kind of had the gut feeling they did not have that. Okay, what are we doing here? I generically like the Thoughtseize. Carpet of Flowers feels a little mid. My opponent has a bunch of things like Cavern of Souls and Urza Saga that don't contribute towards its count. And then we have a bunch of things that can deal with a portion of the combo, but not all of it at the same time. The Game 1 deck honestly feels pretty okay against what's going on here. I'm going to get rid of Uro versus white exile-based removal. That gives me this Thoughtseize. And I think I'm just good. Like, I can definitely play other cards. You know, with a green source here, or even a blue source, I think I can keep this one, but this is pretty sketch as is. I think I'm going to send it back. This is great. I'm just going to get rid of Murktide Regent here. I will find a win condition once I make it out of the early game. Or I suppose if I make it out of the early game. Yes. So let's Thoughtseize and hope my opponent does not have 2 Illusionists. They do not. Brainstorm or Tamiyo. I can't answer Tamiyo right now, but my deck is pretty good at answering Tamiyo. This is also a wizard. Covenant Wizard's really fucking good here. I think I'm going to take Tamiyo, but I am very unsure about that choice. I think it's a little scary for my opponent to cast Brainstorm. Yeah. Here and potentially Brainstorm lock themselves. There's the Cavern coming down. What did the Ponder do? The Ponder shuffled. You are not a wizard. You are a core nomad soldier. Life from the Loam is cool. I am not interested in casting that until I have a Wasteland, at which point I am very interested in casting that. Let's get the beans going and hope we don't die next turn. Ooh, Force of Negation, pitching Brainstorm. You've got it. That definitely takes the wind out of my sails. Ponder from my opponent. Come on, Wasteland. Let's just will a Wasteland to the top of my deck. An Urza's Saga. Let's will a Wasteland to the top of my deck. We'll take that. Brainstorm, Life from the Loam. Notably a good thing. Those are not what I'm looking for. Force of Will goes back. I have nothing to pair with that. And some land just goes back into my deck here. Alright, we'll grab an Underground Sea. Actually, do I need to Thoughtseize my opponent right now? My opponent exiled their Brainstorm, and they have been pondering. Fuck, I messed up. I was not supposed to do this. I was planning on Thoughtseizing. I don't need to. I have messed up. I've made my bed. I'm going to lie in it. I'm going to get Hedge Maze. Island to Graveyard. So I'm supposed to leave this open for Fatal Push for Nadu, and then do Hedge Maze at the end of my opponent's turn. I know my opponent's hand. I don't need to Thoughtseize immediately, but I can Thoughtseize prior. Okay, we dodged a bullet there. I can Thoughtseize prior to playing something that cares about Swords to Plowshares. Fuck. Force of Will also came back. Not what I want to see. I'm going to make a land drop. I will Thoughtseize now. I'll take the swords. Leave my opponent with a Nomads. Cast Life from the Loam as a draw 3. On my opponent's turn, I'll fetch before Urza Saga goes off to leave Fatal Push available through Pithing Needle. Actually, no, my opponent won't have Pithing Needle in, right? That's kind of a crazy person thing to do. Just doesn't make sense for the matchup. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for the matchup. Wait, hold on. Did my opponent not make a Construct token? Did they have mana available? Another Shuko. Sure. You may equip Shukos. So Force of Will does not actually cover Nadu. Fatal Push does. Okay, let's take a draw. Natural draw. Deck, please. Alright. Oh, opponent said oopsie in the chat, which I am assuming is about an Urza Saga Construct token. Savannah to Graveyard. You've got it. Edge Maze. Flooded Strand to Graveyard. This is a lot of life. I am going to just take this out. And I've got the vibe that my opponent doesn't have cards that are good. Take a natural draw. Wasteland is fucking sick. Wasteland is so incredibly good right now. Now I can Force of Will Nadu and try to grind my opponent to dust with Life from the Loam. Oh, that was so big. Okay, opponent's just passing. I have 3 lands in hand. I cast Life from the Loam with 2 mana. I don't actually have Force of Will available this turn, so I think I just wait. Ooh, nice. I can do that while still having Force available. So let's do that. Oh, that's very good. So we will put back land and land, play Wasteland, Wasteland my opponent off of green, floating blue, which could be an indicator of Force of Negation. Now I'll just pass the turn with Pitchcast, Force of Will, and Endurance available. Land drop. Nomads is fine. Nomads can get big. Am I casting Endurance? I think I'll cast Endurance. I don't think I'm putting lands back in my opponent's deck, though. I'm fine dredging this. Wasteland, Wasteland, grab a forest. 1 and 2. Is it Force of Negation plus blue card? It is not. Wasteland, Wasteland, target Tundra. Pass turn with Force of Will available, and this for Nomads. I am not the aggressor right now. Alright, we are getting the GGs from the opponent in chat. We have worn them down. What are we, 2-1 now? We are 2-1 now. Alright, my opening hand here seems totally fine. Yes, I am going to start on Underground Sea and hope that I don't get wastelanded. I'll throw down Tamiyo. I think there's a real argument to just ponder for another land here. Force, pitching Narcomoeba. Don't love that. Misty Rainforest. That means I'm not wastelanding immediately. So are we blue dredge? I think I'm going to play out Wasteland in case this is like an end of turn surveil land or something. Fetch. Okay, no. We are not blue dredge. It is more Nadu bullshit. We've got Bowboy. 17. Witherbloom command is not currently ideal. Just go ahead and send on in. Opponent's at 15. I'm going to just ponder and try to hit a new land drop. Success. Argon goes down. Beans on top. Misty. No shuffle. Play Misty. Pass. I've got Beans on top, but I have no qualms with fetching a Bayou to play another Orcish Bowmasters. But I would probably be responsive in doing that rather than proactive in doing it. There's a Swords. I think that indicates that my opponent is about to cast something like a Brainstorm or Ponder. So I think I am just going to go ahead and Bowmaster in response to that. That is a Force of Will, pitching a Nadu. You've got it. Now my opponent gets to cast their cantrip. And they keep their card. That's 3 basics, which is pretty annoying. I'm going to ponder looking for a fetch land for a Nadu so that I have Revolt. That also answers a Nadu. I'm going to Thoughtseize to play around Cavern of Souls Nadu as the last 2 cards in hand, I guess. And I'm just not, like, the happiest about it. I'm going to take the Nadu. It is better value. But I die if my opponent top decks well this turn. Yeah. So there's the fetch. My opponent gets basics. So their exact card has to be like a Shuko or Nomad's in core there for me to die. Alright, so now I have Fatal Push available. Witherbloom command isn't super impressive. Let's just send in for 1 and plan on playing Endurance. And opponent is just passing the turn. I do have to fetch here to get green. Grab a Trop. There's a bunch of junk in the graveyard. Those can go back in your deck. That's not what I am personally looking for right now. So this is 4 damage. Next turn I have 4 damage. And then I have Drain 2 afterwards. We're not going to cast this Witherbloom Apprentice now until it is lethal. That's a Prismatic Ending. That's fine. That's just more land from my opponent. Okay. Send it. 5. Do I want to now Witherbloom Apprentice? No, I think I'm just waiting. Because my opponent might double fetch, thinking they still have 1 more turn, and then Witherbloom command helps out. Maybe that was the exact Force of Will we put back in their deck. We put back 2 of them. Alright, opponent is chilling. Do I want to Wasteland Hedge Maze to take my opponent off of Hardcast Force of Will? Sure. Ooh, a Murktide Regent. Send it. Opponent is at 3. This is already just lethal next turn. I think this is now my line. I'm going to get back a land and a drain. Target player mills 3 cards. Target opponent loses life. Green and black. So my opponent is going to be at 1. This fetch land isn't live anyway. I don't need to get back Wasteland then. I will just get back a fetch land that gives me Revolt. And I will leave open double Fatal Push. Narcomoeba resolves. Fatal Push, a Narcomoeba. Heyo! We win. Slow win, that was turn 9. I think I decided I wanted Thoughtseize and I didn't want Uro, and then I was on the fence about a bunch of the Endurance, Force of Vigor, Collector Oof type things. Force of Vigor might be important for Urza Saga mid-range stuff. Like, do that. My opponent's pretty good at answering Tamiyo. Sure. I am fine keeping this hand. We have 2 pieces of spot removal for early creatures, and then I have a way to start getting card advantage and filling my graveyard for stuff like Murktide Regent. This is fine. We'll Underground Sea and pass. I maybe don't want this much removal all at the same time, but I guess that's what Brainstorm is for, right? We're chilling. I'll just play a Misty and pass. My opponent slams an uncounterable Nadu. I can just Sheldred's Edict it. No, we are just playing Drago. So let's Brainstorm. Is there anything so bad that I have to Force of Will it? Probably. Do this. I'll fetch a Hedge Maze to clear and grow my graveyard a little bit. I don't think I want that right now. No Urza Saga or Shuko showing. Witherbloom Command's kind of whatever. I think I will just pass the turn here, and we'll see what my opponent has going on. I imagine it's just a Surveil land or two here. My opponent didn't mulligan to start off the game. They might just have a clunker that is going to allow me to get off the ground. Ben Force of Vigor immediately. Urza Saga hits play. Classic. Teferi, though. Teferi's pretty annoying. Wonder if there's some sort of Spell Pierce type thing here, or if Teferi was the draw for turn. It seems like Urza Saga was likely the draw for turn, though. I can just let that resolve and Sheoldred's Edict it on my own turn. But if my opponent has a counterspell backup for it, it's very annoying. I think I just force it. I'll pitch my Brainstorm here, assuming that casting this is better than casting Brainstorm. Cool. Fetch. Probably just getting another Underground Sea, and we'll bargain. Crazy that this is a fucking instant. Was a Flusterstorm. This would be a cool time to hit a Wasteland. So mill 3, you lose 2. Green and black. Did not hit a Wasteland. I'll pick up a Misty, though. And I think just play Bayou. It lets my opponent know one more card. But I have Murderous Cut and Edict and Fatal Push all available for different reasons here. Alright, opponent is just chilling. So hopefully I find a Murktide Regent or a source of card advantage or something here. I honestly don't mind that. What's going on over there? How conservatively have you been playing Veil of Summer? Okay, that'll do. My opponent can make their Urza Saga construct tokens, and then another set, while getting a Shuko. I mean, I'll fetch in response. I guess just picking up a Trop. Needle resolves. Naming Fairy Macabre, which I am not playing. I will go ahead and Fatal Push that immediately as to not take 5 damage. And I think I'll wait. Yeah. We've got some beans. Bowmasters is cool. I'm just going to pass the turn here. I'll probably just use an Orc to chump block the construct token for a turn. Yep. Actually, I'll take a hit for 4. I don't want to tap too low on mana here. Like, if I had the ability to have 2 relevant spells up, I would like that. Oh, buddy. We got value for waiting. Attempt to Bowmaster Construct token. Nice. I still have Murderous Cut available with Up the Beanstalk. 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, 1 to face. Nice, everything is working. Another land drop. There is a Nadu. When my opponent goes to equip Shuko, I can Murderous Cut it. Nomads. Absolutely not. So let's take a fetch land out of graveyard and then some instant and sorcery type stuff. My opponent gets 1 Nadu trigger and has to hit exactly a Flusterstorm, I think. Opponent hit Ponder. This is all fine. Opponent casts the Ponder. I get to kill their Nomads. I will potentially just Edict this away. Let's Ponder first, though. Another Murderous Cut. Okay. I have 10 cards in graveyard, so I can use 5 for this and 5 for this. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Oh wait, hold on. I have a land on top of my library. So I can play Murktide Regent, delve out some stuff, draw a card, make a land drop, batch. Just doing this to make sure I don't run out of black sources. I couldn't remember how many were left in deck. Sheoldred's Edict. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Bam and bam. Hit for 5. And then I have lethal next turn while still having Murderous Cut available for Nadu or Cephalid Illusionist. Ponder is fine. Bowmaster trigger. Nomads is fine. Nadu is annoying. So if that hits play, my opponent gets 4 triggers. It's probably correct to just Murderous Cut the Nomads and leave the Nadu in play. Let my opponent have 2 triggers with Shuko and then have to chump block the Murktide rather than give them 4 triggers. Bam, 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 bam. Also grows my Murktide for what it's worth. Bargain's fine. So now we just see if my opponent randomly pops off insanely well. They don't get to do stuff again on my turn. They hit a Ponder. They can cast to try to find another creature or Swords to Plowshares. And they will. Bowmaster trigger. Yeah, they're going to fetch. And probably Swords Murktide. Oh, it's a Nomads. Okay, sure. So that gives my opponent 2 more looks. Last look. It's a land. Alright, yeah, that's not going to do it. So I have 2 different creatures that have to be chump blocked here. Oh, yeah, they can get a couple more looks on this turn now. I guess I should cast this. Trigger my Up the Beanstalk. Opponent can put some stuff on top of this then. Prismatic Ending is a sorcery. Let's just pop out this zone. Force of Will. Okay, cool. Now I will bargain. I will take a Fatal Push and a Brainstorm. Life from the Loam. So I will Life from the Loam, target Wasteland and Polluted Delta. 1 and 2. I will play Polluted Delta. Fetch. Grab a land. Fatal Push a Nadu, which has currently exhausted its triggers. And send in for lethal. Boy howdy, do I hate Nadu. The fact that I had such a dominant control over all of that game, and my opponent still had a chance to draw live and come back from all of that is disgusting. Alright, here we go. Opening hand is fine. I'm going to go ahead and just probably ponder and look for land drop number 3 proactively. Ooh, it's kind of like land drop number 3 if you look at it sideways. Don't wasteland me? That's not wasteland. Yes. Grizzlebrand on turn 1. Pretty okay. Opponent gets to draw 7 cards. And presumably I lose to this. I don't have white-based removal that just cleanly answers this. I am not quite to Murderous Cut here. Am I dead enough that I just concede? I know my top card is Up the Beanstalk. I lose Murderous Cut here. I think I'm dead enough that I'm going to concede and not give my opponent any more information. Underground Sea into Ponder is a lot of decks. So we're going to bring in our anti-graveyard stuff here, an extra Thoughtseize. I need to leave some amount of removal in the deck in case my opponent jukes into something like Witherbloom Apprentice combo. But I'll probably go ahead and get rid of Fatal Pushes. I probably want Force of Negation. Double Murderous Cut, Sheoldred's Edict is a few outs to creatures. Witherbloom Command is probably not overly impressive here. I'm not sure what the last 2 cuts are going to be. Probably Life from the Loam can go, and maybe a Tamiyo or an Uro. Maybe a Tamiyo. I might be cutting Tamiyo too aggressively. Like, it could be that I cut something like Bargain for being slow here. These are fine blue cards, but I have Leyline of the Void. These are fine blue cards. I have Leyline of the Void, but I don't know that I throw back Thoughtseize into Beans into Bargain. I'm going to keep this and hope the creature does not get into play immediately. Let's Thoughtseize. Oh boy, I hate that. So my opponent has Entomb, Reanimate, or Spoils of the Vault, which is either Entomb or Reanimate, and Dark Ritual to do both on turn 1. The way that I stay alive the longest is by taking Dark Ritual. Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because if I take Dark Ritual, then Entomb puts a creature in the graveyard, and then every one of these can just be another Reanimate. Okay. That good enough? That is a blue card that I can pair with Bargain next turn. But I don't think I get a next turn. I think my opponent just gets to go Entomb, Reanimate, and I die. What a resilient opening hand, by the way. It's a Traxa, which I guess technically doesn't kill me immediately. F6. My opponent gets to assemble Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog combo and unmask me. Yeah, okay. Alright, we can tap out there. We got comboed. Great league though. Alright. So, overall thoughts on the deck list. Chris, this feels great. You know, I'm not the biggest cantrip mage, but I piloted this to good results. We ground through some absolutely crazy things. The deck itself feels objectively very powerful. The approximate ratios of cards that I was playing felt good. There were times where I wish I had a third Wasteland, but I am a 3-color deck that is trying to squeeze in a bunch of basics. It's possible you could get slightly greedier with the mana base and not do all 3 basics. I think you always want basic island, basic forest. I could see the swamp just being another dual land. That wouldn't be too crazy. I can see why a lot of the beans lists vary by 5 or 6 cards, though. I think this is a customizable deck where, based on the week-to-week fluctuations of the metagame and what you are expecting to play against, you can make appropriate adjustments. I'm gonna give this one a thumbs up. This feels tournament viable and tournament ready, which is something I often don't say about the brews we play on this channel. But this is great. Expect to see more beans in the future in leagues on the other side of the table. I think control is back. Maybe it's not the best thing to be doing in the metagame, but this feels pretty darn good. All right, folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And remember, if you have any crazy brews you want to see on the channel, I am always open to donation deck lists. Info's on my website or in every video description. All right, see ya.